Greetings. Today I'm going to light the chalice of the North Shore Unitarian Church in order to begin our service. And by way of some opening words, I offer these from Laurel Sheridan. Take from life its coals and not its ashes. Fan the flames of love and justice. Join hands and hearts in this common endeavor. And then, if we do that, there will be no limit to what we can accomplish together. My spiritual companions, welcome to this day in this place. Our reading this morning comes from Philippe Petit. He was, of course, the famous tightrope walker who strung a wire between the World Trade Centers back in the early 70s and walked back and forth between them 8 times. These are some of his words. Life should be lived on the edge. You have to exercise rebellion, to refuse to tape yourself to rules, to refuse your own success, to refuse to repeat yourself, to see every day, every year, every idea as a true challenge. And then, and only then, are you going to live your life as though on a tightrope. So ends the reading.
You've got to do when the Spirit says do. You got to do when the Spirit says do. When the Spirit says do, you got to do. Oh Lord, you've got to do when the Spirit says do. 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 Spirit says do, Spirit says do. You got to sing when the Spirit says sing. You got to sing when the Spirit says sing. When the Spirit says sing, you got to sing, oh Lord. You got to sing when the Spirit says sing. Spirit says sing. Spirit says sing, Spirit says sing, Spirit says sing, Spirit says sing, Spirit says sing. You got to dance when the Spirit says dance. You got to dance when the Spirit says dance. When the Spirit says dance, you got to dance, oh Lord. You got to dance when the Spirit says dance. 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 You got to do when the Spirit says do. You got to do when the Spirit says do. When the Spirit says do, you got to do, oh Lord. You got to do when the Spirit says do. 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 Spirit says do.
Classmates announce the school's recess by kicking a white ball to excited yelps and serious commands. A younger student in a polka-dotted skirt swings on a tire that moans every time it shifts left across from an older student sulking in black denim by a flagpole. Under a tree, raining down blooms of pink snow, my friend, who is all blonde bowl cut and delayed orthodontic work, shortens his step, reduces the width, sticks his arms out, tries to find a perfect straight line. He steps on this rusted black metal railing between cement posts, working it like a tightrope. He shifts and concentrates. He tries to find the plumb line down the center of his body, falling and landing on the cushion of his sneakers with a soft thud. And here I am, all Coke bottle glasses and awkward limbs, climbing onto the starting post. But before I even get one foot on the bar, a teacher catches my eye. She scribbles a forbidding look all over her face. Stop. Not safe. I get down, deflated. Now, it will be several more months before my friend and I are able to test our mettle again. Humid Midwest Augusts have more festivals and fairs than they do mosquitoes. The Catholic parish near my home sets out its enormous sign announcing food, entertainment, and prizes. Its paint of primary colors has been reapplied so many times that the clown image on the sign possesses the creepy realism of caked-on makeup. I find little thrill in games of balloon darts for teddy bears disemboweled of their stuffing. That is not the festival that I plan to take my friend to. Instead, I see them setting it up. A few towns away, in the parking lot of a school, 2 towers rise. Their platforms are at least 3 stories in the air. This new monstrosity looms over the standard tilt-a-whirl and booths where families will slurp sweating snow cones. I thrill to see the workman threading a steel serpent between the pillars and then affixing a bike with a huge weight that forces it to stay upright. Could this really be a ride? A ride where the object is not to fall in controlled roller coaster fashion, but rather to balance precariously? It's perfect for my 11-year-old imagination. That spring, I complete a report on Philippe Petit. He becomes an international inspiration when, in 1974, he rigs a cable between the World Trade Centers and saunters back and forth 8 times, playing to crowds below so distant that they look like dust. His walk is graceful and death-defying. As he approaches the South Tower, police officers rush to the ledge. They coax, plead, and threaten. Apparently, neither promise nor threat have gravity at that altitude. My friend and I escape our parental chaperones into the crowd, swimming past booths, through families to our destination. Competing calliope music spirals from the Ferris wheels and tilt-a-whirls. We pass a tent sporting languid goldfish and blue-tinted cups, sidling up to a garbage can wafting the remains of unswallowed beer. We find the entrance to the ride. An unwelcoming teenage vendor, all rail thin and facial piercings, holds a roll of tickets. Next to him is another sign that appears as inhospitable as he does. No riders under this height. There is absolutely no doubt that my friend and I are under that height. None. So in spontaneous synchronization, we try to act tall, imagining our spines extending periscopically. It's not convincing, but for some strange reason, some inscrutable reason, the boy smirks and gives us a ticket anyway. We cannot believe our luck. We stand triumphant. We have overcome the arbitrary constraints of adults. But behind, a young woman in cut-off shorts, snorting at her date's treacherously bad jokes in the long, winding line, some small, soft part of me regrets this. A spot inside my chest is already turning to mush. Overhead, the oppressive friction of the bike against the steel cable drains my courage. One part of me wants nothing more than to leave my friend for the teddy bear games. In this carnival line inexplicably turned into a foxhole, I start to pray for adult intervention. I guess I'm used to adults chiding, commanding, chaperoning, corralling. Of course, I sometimes break away from their prison guard watch and climb too high into the neighborhood oak tree or jaywalk when they aren't looking. But usually, I expect them to rush in, to curtail unreasonable aspirations and serious dangers. I am just starting to see the rim of a world whose chaos is untamed by parental sky gods. A world where I can choose heights at which they cannot help or assist, and where the ground can suddenly drop. The philosopher Soren Kierkegaard defined faith this way. He said that faith is living with profound uncertainty, as though one were suspended over 70,000 fathoms of water. Now, that's not exactly a tightrope, but it is equally precarious. When we are confronted with such vulnerability and precarity, we are certainly warranted in feeling fearful and anxious. We might worry ourselves all day over what we will lose. Kierkegaard says that the only alternative is faith. We can find faith as trust. We can trust the next step on the wire, even as we know that we are risking danger. What does this mean to live a faithful response in this moment? I believe that we are being called as people of faith, as Unitarian Universalists, to risk deeper and sustained action around racism and white supremacy. We are being called to look at the ways insidious patterns and beliefs have seeped into our lives and shaped our culture. For white people, it is going to take leaning deeply into our discomfort around whiteness in ways that our parents may not have empowered us to do, and find a recognition that we have unacknowledged internal racism to work on. We have to do this if we are ever to challenge the brutality and the violence that we see in our world. My spiritual companions, I get it. This is scary stuff. It can feel a whole lot like the ground is dropping out from under us. These steps can feel uncomfortable and vulnerable. But I also know, I also believe, I also have a firm conviction that those steps are precisely the ones that are necessary. However risky it feels to me as a white person to engage in this work, I just remind myself that the drop is that much deadlier for a person of color. Failing to take the risk and instead choosing to stay with comfort and silence, choosing to look away from the conversation, choosing not to engage in all the hurt and pain that we see in our world, those don't even seem like options to me anymore. It just wouldn't be right. And so I'm ready. Stepping onto the slotted metallic platform, it's my turn. An indifferent operator in brown overalls straps me into a loosely fitted woven belt. Suspended 3 stories above the churning crowd, I clamp down on the handles. My knuckles turn pale. A kaleidoscope circles on my thick lenses. Squeals from games and arguments and laughter reach the platform like the distant prayers of supplicants. They are millions of miles away. I am the one pushing forward, full of rebellion and conviction, discovering this strange, new, precarious footing. Spiritual companions, may you discover those next steps in grace. Amen. Blessings. And thank you so much for your hospitality this morning.
Everything we've done's gone wrong, let's break it down and try again. Live your life and love your friends and give yourself a chance to win. Break down all the walls you see and build them in a way that's free. We will, we will, we will, we will, we will. We're far away from anything I want to be or want to see. This broken sense of freedom speech, the one that hates, the one that sees. Let's change the way we fill our days, replace them with some brighter ways. We'll take the things we've learned to love and build from there to get past here. We will, we will, we will, we will, we will. Change the things in life you hate and leave the things you love the same. Everything in life can be everything you want to see. Time is ticking, clocks are turning, nothing stays the same for long. Everything in life must be the way you think you want to leave. One day we will die and see that everything in life's a treat. You'll see, 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 you'll see. Everything we've done's gone wrong, let's break it down and try again. Live your life and love your friends and give yourself a chance to win. Break down all the walls you see and build them in a way that's free. We will, 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 rebuild, we will.
The month of October, one of my favorite months, contains one of my favorite holidays. The leaves change beautiful colors. It's also sometimes a rather dreary month, since it gets real cold and rainy. But hey, it's a perfect time to stay at home, get out that checkbook, and send in your pledge to the office here at East Shore. But other than that, the month of October is also dedicated to awareness of domestic violence. And that's why it's the month when we put out our silent witnesses at the front of the church to remind our neighbors as they pass by of all of the Lake County women who have lost their lives to intimate partner violence. And it's also why we dedicate any extra funds that we receive to Forbes House, the Lake County organization dedicated to aiding women affected by these issues and a shelter for them as well. So whether you are a longtime member and friend of East Shore, or if you've stumbled upon us for the first time today, I would encourage you to send in a little something extra to the office this month, dedicated to these women who lost their lives and the women who we know still suffer in silence. Thank you for everything you do for our church home and for our community partners.
My spiritual companions, by way of closing, I invite you to think about the question, what would it mean for you today to take a few steps out onto that tightrope? How might you find a few more steps out into faith? How might you carry your values more deeply into the world? How might you find some more steps towards love and towards hope and towards justice? The world needs that right now. It needs people who are willing to take the risk and take the walk. May we go forth and find that courage. Amen, and blessed be.
I'm sure it was difficult for you, as it was for me, to hear that we would not be gathering anywhere near the beacon, let alone underneath it anytime soon. But like me, I'm sure that you were understanding and appreciative of the board's decision to help us keep each other safe by maintaining our distance. So let us take comfort in our rituals and use the fact that we are apart to let our togetherness echo out through the distance. I invite you to join me in raising your hands out to the side, and maybe even taking the hands of a loved one if you've got one there at home, and reciting our bond of union. We join hands in Unitarian Universalist fellowship, pledging ourselves to an individual religious freedom which transcends all creeds, not to think alike, but to journey together. Together.